Hi guys, thanks for joining the Handyman channel. Today I'm going to be sanding down this wall behind me. Last week I put one coat of mud on some joints and some drywall screw holes, and the corner, as you can see up behind me, where the wall meets the ceiling. And today I'm going to be sanding it down, vacuuming, getting the dust picked up, and then I'm going to wipe down the wall, and then we're going to put a second coat. So thanks for joining, and see how you like it. Okay, so I'm back at it again today. I had a couple of comments about the drywall mud and stuff, and I thought overall it was really good information. One person said that use metal knives and a metal tray and use the hot mud, and so it'll dry faster. And because I'm gonna get chips from the box, the big box of mud with the plastic bag, and if I close it up and it dries, then I'm gonna get little hardened chips, and that's gonna go in there, and I can see that. So I appreciate that. I'm not an expert, so I've done this kind of stuff here and there over the years, more of seldom. There was another guy or person that said similar. And he was saying that use hot mud, and not to use the mud that takes a long time to dry, the air dry mud, because it presents a lot of problems. So they may be right about that. These guys probably do this stuff for a living, so that's great. I appreciate the input. The second guy was kind of a little bit negative in the way he said it, but that's what it is. So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and sand this down, and we're going to see how it looks. And if it looks bad, I might have to redo it. But we'll see. I appreciate the input, and here we go. I got a vacuum, so I can vacuum up some of this dust as I sand it. So this is how it feels when I'm actually working. Fortunately for you guys, we can speed it up. Oh, you guys still there? Okay. You're probably going, hey, how come you're not wearing a dust mask or goggles? Well, then I couldn't have done that. It is getting dusty. It's time to put on some protection. All right, suit up, fellow sanders, or particulate creation removal people. All right, I'm going to show you what I've got so far so you can see the progress, what it looks like, what it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So start with like some of these screw holes, not looking too bad for a first coat. I'll probably have to put a little bit more on that. Some of these might be okay, not too bad. I'll go up here to the corner. This isn't too bad. It does have some, you can see some like extra wrinkling, not wrinkling, but extra mud right in here, which I'm gonna sand down. But if you look at this part here, it's pretty smooth. Not bad, actually. Let me see if we can get the light here. It's pretty smooth. I think it'll it'll end up being good once I wipe it down. Some parts won't need extra mud. Parts like this right here probably will, because it's just a little dimple there, maybe a little more sanding. Now we'll come over here to this first seam I did, and you can see the tape where I've sanded. You can see the tape a little bit. It looks kind of ugly. Okay, so I can either put another coat, thicker mud over top of this, or I can take it off and redo it. Believe it or not, in my experience, and again, I'm not a professional, but in my experience, this kind of thing can happen. You know, I just didn't have enough, and we can go over top of it and smooth it out. But some of these professional people, they probably can get this right in the first try. So over here, I haven't sanded yet. That still looks pretty ugly. That's all dry. I'll end up sanding that later. But, you know, I just be honest with you guys and let you see what we got so far. So, all right. All right, I just sanded down the ugly part. Take a look at this. That's now after the first sanding. You can obviously see the tape is coming through a little bit here and here. And I've got a couple of little dimples. So again, I can wipe it down. I could redo it, or I might just put some extra mud on there and we'll see how it goes. But it's looking not too bad. There you go. Okay, you guys are all smart enough to know that when you do this sanding, it's going to create a lot of dust. And I've got the vacuum, I've been using it, but I'll be honest, you're just going to have a lot of dust. It's in a small room, so I'm doing the best I can. But here, let's just show you the aftermath of most of the sanding. All right, so obviously, you know, we're going to get dust on surfaces. Okay, that's normal. I can put a cloth. I actually thought about putting a cloth down beforehand, but this time I was like, you know, let's just try it without and see where we're at. Obviously, a lot of dust on the floor here all around. I just vacuumed the steps off, but you can see doorknobs and against the wall, on the floor, on the pipes. I vacuumed off this already, but it's a mess. You can look up here on the top of the door frame, and you know, it's a mess. Let's take a peek here. There's the corner up at the top, and it's pretty decent. Obviously, we're gonna fix that. But overall, this was, yeah, so there's a little bit of tape showing there. I'll have to fix that. But this is the corner where it was extra, and I kind of over sanded just a little. You can see it cracked, the paper cracked. But otherwise, looks pretty good. I'll either put in a little extra mud right there, or believe it or not, depending on how this does, sometimes paint, if you use a semi-gloss or a latex, I might fill it, or I could use some caulk if I wanted to. I could just use a thin layer of mud, but overall, it actually doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna wipe it down with a damp cloth or a sponge, and maybe we'll show you that. Yeah, so I'm vacuuming, but just to show you guys, you know, and I've already cleaned off a little bit, but lots of dust. Yeah, fun stuff. All right, I've started wiping down the wall with a damp cloth, and I'll just show you guys a little bit of this. Real exciting stuff, you know. But it does get the dust off. I vacuumed a little bit with the vacuum, the flat head of the vacuum. That took off some of it, but yeah. And you can feel the grit on the walls before you wipe it down, but afterwards it's pretty smooth. kind of like when you do tile work and you gotta grout. After you grout, you wipe it down with a sponge, and then after that you go back and wipe it down again to get the haze off. All right. Next time I sand, I'll cover things up. I just wanted to show you guys kind of what happens, you know, if you don't. Okay, let's take a look at this now that it's wiped down. So we've had our first coat of mud and our first sanding and wiped it down. So you can kind of see it's dry now. It was, you know, the wall looked kind of funny when I was wiping it down, but okay, so there's some screw holes there. Here's the seam. Here's the corner. Oh, it looks like I've got a spider up there. All right, and again, that's the spot I over sanded. It is a spider, I think. Get out of there. Yeah. Okay, and this is after wiping it down. So one coat of mud, one sanding, and wipe it down with vacuum it, and then wipe it down with a damp cloth, and this is what we're at. So it's not too bad. I mean, it's not great. Again, I know professionals that could do it better on the first try, but you know, just kind of an idea. This is, you know, I've only done this a few times in my life, so you know, maybe give you guys some hope that you might be able to do some things that you didn't think you used to be able to do. Okay, so round two. I did take some advice of some of these guys. I got a metal pan and metal knives, and I'm going to, this one's a taping knife, it's wider. I'm gonna put a second coat on where the tape is, and then maybe in some of these little spots where there's dimples. So we're gonna give this a shot, see how that goes. Oh, that was ugly. So I didn't like how that was going. I had actually some bubbles right here. So I decided to pull that tape off, and I'm gonna redo that spot. All right. I'm not taping this. I'm just gonna see how this does without tape. Yeah, it might be a mistake. I'm not sure, but we're gonna find out. Okay, so I've got that second coat on now that I removed the tape, and it does look like it's a little lower in the spot where the tape was, but it is kind of thick. I have the mud on there kind of thick, so once that dries and I sand it, I think we might be okay. We will see. I'm gonna go ahead and do this spot now. So we'll see if I can get the camera in the right position. All right, that's not too bad. I have a little extra on the top. It's a little, thicker in the middle, and it kind of tapers out to the sides. This can be sanded fairly easily on the outside edges, so I think we're gonna be okay in that spot there. All right, so this is what it looks like up close. It kind of looks, ripply and thick, but again, it's thicker right in the middle here, and then it tapers out to the sides. And I think that'll be fine when it's time to sand it, once it dries. I am using another mud. It's not the exact same brand I had before. This one is better for less mess for sanding, but it is still a long drying mud. So I thought about getting the powdered mud or the hot mud that dries quicker. But I just honestly didn't want to deal with the mess of the powder and getting it in the air and stuff. Maybe another time I might do that. So for now, this is where we're at, and we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and take care of some of these screw holes and show you that. All right, let's look at these screw holes here. So they're pretty filled in, nice and smooth. Second coat, and then just scrape it off. And this guy might not even need to be sanded. This one might need a very light sand. So these guys came out pretty good. And then of course, across here for the non-taped joint and the tape joint with 2 coats on it. All right, guys. All right, thanks for watching. Next time we'll do part 3. Until then, have a great weekend. We'll see you later.